upload all the videos to our Google Drive, and then
now you work from home. It's like
I don't have to do it at all because it's already streaming. It's already up on YouTube. I used to have to like take the video.
So we always stream to YouTube now?
Yeah, we have been.
At least the last handful.
Yeah, last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
we're going live on Facebook.
Okay.
How do you say excellent in Spanish?
Excelente.
Muy bien. I award you 20 puntos.
Oh, it's 20 points.
Puntos.
Make sure you say the N.
Right. Wait, is that points? I thought. Oh, that's like number points. I thought that meant like to point at somebody.
No, apuntar.
Okay, let us begin.
Mi comprende mucho.
Comprendo. You'd say mi comprendo.
No, maybe you say that. Mi se comprende.
Tu se comprendo.
Yo
comprende.
Comprendimus.
Here's to good friends.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. That's sort of an oaky afterbirth.
What was that?
What was that?
She did tell me to get a beer and some cheese fries over at Eskimo Joe's.
That's very nice, lovely. I only hope you feel this way when I'm done. Because I could destroy this night in 2 seconds.
Why is that funny?
Well, I think it's a bit funny to be trying to define nothing.
Smooth as a bourbon on a summer day. Strong as a peated scotch in the winter night. This is a fair warning. The Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're going to be talking about Peacemakers today. Blessed are the Peacemakers. Adam Minahan here with David Niles. Juan on the buttons. We are sans Jim this evening, which is a threat to the studio, but we will move forward. We will carry on our wayward son.
I knew that you were going to say it. I knew that you would.
Yes.
I saw it coming.
Dave, I think that it's time. We were like, 250 some odd episodes in?
I have no idea.
Something like that.
Okay.
I think it is time to tell the listeners about the time we bought guitars together. It has been too many episodes without telling this story.
Is there a reason that you just want to tell it and you just...
I found out that Haley sold my guitar. And I was like, no!
So we don't have matching guitars anymore.
I don't think we have matching guitars anymore, no.
Was it Esteban?
Esteban.
Yes.
Why don't you pour the whiskey?
Okay.
This evening we're going to be and then we'll tell the story because Juan has never heard the story either, I don't believe.
Nope.
Which he will enjoy as well. So
I always get nervous about telling stories from when we were in college.
Well, this one's okay.
Yeah. I know it is.
Yeah.
But it just makes me nervous.
I know. I understand.
There's inevitably a context around everything
that we were doing in college that we would not be wanting.
That is embarrassing and humiliating, but that's okay. It's still a funny story.
So this evening we're going to drink Wyoming whiskey. It's a bourbon, a small batch of bourbon, and it is, the tasting notes say it's a dark amber. The nose is floral with a hint of vanilla bean and caramel pudding.
Caramel pudding? I have never had I did not realize caramel pudding existed.
Really?
They make pudding?
My grandma used to make caramel pudding.
Really?
Yeah.
I have never had caramel pudding. It sounds amazing.
The palate says it's... Well, wait. I'll wait with the palate.
You know what I did have today, though? At dinner, we had a fruit salad with chocolate whipped cream on top.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Was there strawberries involved?
There were.
Yes.
Wait, I don't know. Let's see.
Berries of some sort?
It was... All my fruit was buried in the chocolate whipped cream, and...
Right.
I know there were kiwis.
Okay. Kiwi with chocolate.
Kiwi is underrated.
It's good.
It has that. It's not got a crunchy, sugary texture to it.
I'm a fan.
It seems like it's naturally sprinkled with sugar, like when you eat it.
True.
Which I like.
Mark Gillespie, who is the owner and founder of Whiskey Cask Podcast, he rated this one of the best bourbons he's ever had. He rated this at like
What?
Yeah, he rated this at like 95.
I wish you hadn't told me that yet, because now
I know, because now I'm hyping it up.
Yeah,
too much.
exactly.
But that's why I'm excited.
Overhyping something is the worst thing you can do to anything.
Agree.
Yeah.
But I'm just letting you know that's why I'm excited about it and for that reason. We interviewed
I am
Mark.
also now excited about it.
We interviewed Mark Gillespie on a Whiskey 101 back in the day. I don't remember what day it was, but it was years ago.
It's a Wednesday.
If you just look up Whiskey 101 on thecatholicmanshow.com, you can find that episode. It was really good. We learned a lot about whiskey.
Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable. His whole life with work-wise entails whiskey. So
Mark had the privilege of disabusing me of a specific notion about blended whiskeys.
Yeah,
yes.
blended scotches.
And it really was a privilege for him.
Yes. So we're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So if you just shout out to anybody in Wyoming that's listening to the Catholic Man Show. If you would like us to come to speak at maybe your parish or a men's conference in Wyoming,
I would love to go see the
I would
university.
love to go to Wyoming, especially. In fact, I would do it for free if I could get a hunting trip out of the deal or something like that.
I go to Wyoming sometimes.
Yeah, because your in-laws have roots
so
in
my
Wyoming.
my in-law grew up in Wyoming in
Casper's.
Gillette.
Okay.
Casper.
I thought it was Casper.
It is Casper. Yes. Gillette, Wyoming.
It's weird that I know.
Totally different place.
Yeah.
He said Gillette, and then I was like, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I know somebody else who came from Gillette, but yeah, Wyoming is beautiful.
I've never been there. I would love to go.
Because as you know, like here in Oklahoma, we kind of have rolling hills, you know. So like when you're driving down the highway, you can just kind of see hills. Well, our hills don't roll quite as much as Wyoming's, but the weird thing about Wyoming is that the hills are naked.
There's no trees on them?
Oh no, there's no trees. There's what. I don't know if like this is the one tree in the entire interstate of the whole state.
Mm-hmm.
But one time we were driving down the road, and there is a tree between the westbound and eastbound interstate highway traffic that had like
they
iron,
blocked it off?
like iron, like there's a tree,
save it,
defend it.
Yeah,
and so like they literally built. It wasn't like a cage. It was like more decorative than that,
right?
But it was also like
for that purpose,
meant to like if you accidentally drive off the road, you're not taking out this tree. This is the one we got. But there's no grass on the hill. Like
it's just naked without shame, bro.
Right, it is. No, totally, because you can just see the rocks of the hills.
Yeah.
There's grass. They have grass. I'm not saying there's no grass.
We're not in Phoenix,
right? So, but it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful country.
I'd love to go.
Okay. They also have a great Catholic university in Wyoming.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Very great Catholic university.
Okay, so on the nose on this Wyoming whiskey, I have I get like a mint. I get a eucalyptus.
Do you? I'm not getting that. See, when I nose it, I don't get anything particular. Like it's just a very standard whiskey.
I get like a eucalyptic
interesting
mint vanilla smell, like a eucalyptic vanilla is how I would.
To me, vanilla is you can get that on almost any whiskey if it's not, and any whiskey that's not peated anyway. Wow. That is awesome. Where'd you get this?
Wow.
How much was it?
I think it was $40.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You serious?
$40.
You serious, Clark?
You serious, Clark? Yep. So the palate says it's floral with brown baking spices, browned butter, vanilla creme, caramel, and a hint of cinnamon. The finish is medium length, finished with toffee, spice, vanilla with a vanilla fade. I think it's spot on. I think that tasting notes is spot on.
This is one that everybody has to go get.
This is really good. Wyoming whiskey. That's.
I try to be very honest in my assessment of is a whiskey worth it. Mm-hmm. This is definitely worth $40.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was $38.99.
I'd probably pay $50 for it.
It's good. It's one of the better. Wow. It's one of the better like American bourbons that we've had.
Is there an age statement on here?
No, I read on there. I believe the last that I had read that it was typically about a 5 year, is what. But it's unmarked. But that was what.
So that means they're just not committed to a certain year,
right?
Right. That they might be using the same whiskeys in the same proportions, but they're letting those whiskeys, okay, it's a 5-year. The youngest one is 5 years old today. Next year, it's going to be 6 years old because they're going to commit to that for a while. Maybe there's a number of reasons why they might not have an age statement, but
yeah, because they're blending them together.
That is awesome.
Yes, and they're their own distiller. They don't ship it out to.
They're not buying the
distributors.
Juice.
Yeah. So that's what I like about it as well.
Oh, okay. I thought there's a lot of distilleries out there who buy young, like
okay, that's
whiskey.
what I'm saying. Like,
is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, when you said distributing it.
They're not bringing it in.
They're not
bring it in and then becoming distributors.
Yeah, they're not buying the juice. Like a lot of wineries will buy grape juice, and that's fine.
Right.
That's a legitimate thing to do, but that's to be distinguished from wineries who are growing the grapes themselves. Putting in all that literal groundwork.
Yes. So Dave and I were sitting there on a Saturday morning after college, or in college.
This is in college.
In college,
yeah.
And we're just flipping through the TV stations, and I come across. I was on a kick of like what is the sales station? It's like QNT or no?
QVC.
QVC. I was like on this kick of like just kind of watching QVC. Like it was kind of mindless. I was just kind of watching to see what everybody was selling, and I was never going to buy anything.
Yeah, Mike Rowe, he got a start on
QVC.
On QVC. It was QVC or another channel that's just
kind of like Antique Roadshow or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Dave and I are sitting.
Maybe it was Antique Roadshow.
It's weird that I knew that.
Yeah.
So Dave and I were sitting there morning on a Saturday, and I just flipped it on, and we were just watching this. And Esteban,
beautiful guitar.
Esteban pops up on.
I'm gonna take a picture of it
and post it.
Okay. It is a beautiful.
It is a beautiful guitar. And we're just sitting there watching it, and like him playing it, in his Spanish style, and it just sounds so good, and it looks so good, and we're like, wow, that is a nice guitar.
It's Esteban.
Yeah.
And then here he is.
And then he throws in this, and if you buy this guitar, I'm gonna throw in a 12 DVD set of guitar lessons for free
from me.
Learn
how to play the guitar from Esteban.
Yeah, and we were like, what?
Like you and I already knew how to play the guitar. I say that very loosely. You know.
Sure. I mean, I know chords.
Like other guys in college play the guitar.
Sure. So we're sitting there thinking like, oh man, that's a good deal. It's only $200 for this guitar and DVDs. But we were like, we'd never do this. Dave goes, if they throw in an amp.
Well, there was an amp in the background.
If they throw in that amp, we are buying it.
If it's included in the $200, we are buying this guitar.
And right after he said that,
as soon as he said it, and the amp is included in the $200 price.
And I go, dang it, Dave. Dang it. We got to buy it now. I didn't have $200.
It's okay. I have $204.
I didn't have any.
Afford it.
And they said, it's okay. Payments available. $50 payments for 4 months.
0% interest, right.
And Dave talked me into it. So we had matching guitars. We'll be right back. I have the DVDs up there in that closet right now.
We should give them away. Like,
no way, dude. I want those.
I
want that, dude. That was so funny though. I was like so upset with you after you said like, because it was the very first time I ever bought anything on credit. Outside of like a car, I guess a car I bought on credit. But like
I remember it slightly differently. I remember saying I'm buying it.
No, you said we will buy this. You and I are going to buy this if they throw in this amp.
I remember there being a little bit more to it than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was my recollection at least.
Yeah. Like, I want to say, you said if you do it, I'll do it.
Oh, well, that does sound like me.
And so I said...
Because I probably was
and then I
calling
think I
your
said,
bluff.
I said, if you do it, I'll do it. And then we both did it.
Yeah.
Hey, is he working on Facebook?
Yeah.
At least you got a decent guitar out of the gig.
Yeah.
Like the two guitars that we received, yours was significantly different than mine.
Well, all yours was
way better.
You just had too much action.
The action was unusable because by the time
all you had to do though was take it off, file it down, and put it back on.
Why should I have to do that? I bought a brand new guitar. It should be. You'd expect them at least to be the same,
right?
You know,
dude, that was so funny though.
And well, I'm gonna finish this story when we get back, just briefly.
Okay.
Sound a little bit bitter there.
I'm sorry?
You sound
no. I'm not. Well, I'm bitter because I got a bunch of junk.
And my guitar sounded beautiful.
And Adam's was awesome.
I was playing it with the sunset behind me.
Right.
A parrot came and landed on my shoulder, and I was just sitting there playing the sounds of Esteban.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles. Here with Adam Minahan and Juan Posada. I just want to round out the Esteban guitar story because we did buy the guitars. I don't remember being the primary instigator behind it, but you know what?
I think you were the primary mover of this.
This was like almost 15 years ago. And so neither of us are really going to remember the story exactly. All I know is that we did get them. It did come with an amp and cable. Guitar cable
with the case.
It had a built-in
guitar case,
guitar amp. Or a guitar pickups were built in.
Yep.
I mean, it was like
acoustic electric.
Everything that you'd want. Gorgeous. I mean, it really was.
It had a nice inlay.
It looked
beautiful.
It was this black guitar with mother of pearl, at least imitation mother of pearl, all over with a white neck.
Yeah, it's
right?
beautiful.
Oh, it was. Except mine turned out to be a piece of crap, and Adam's was great. Like, they weren't the same. His played beautifully. Mine, the action on it had to be half an inch. So, like, the distance between the strings and the frets was so much, it made it unplayable. Because by the time you would push first of all, it took an enormous amount of strength to... If you wanted to, like, do a bar chord with this thing, you had to stretch those strings so far. By the time they actually got to the frets, they were not the right notes. Right? And so... I still have it. It's unplayable, but it looks awesome. So, I mean, I just kind of said, I'm not going to play this. Well, anyway, the amp that was the selling point, mine stopped working literally after 2 or 3 weeks, okay? So, it was ridiculous.
It was pretty funny. That was funny.
Your amp also went out, but it
took a while.
You got, overall, a better set of stuff. You got a better set of junk than I did.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
No doubt.
And your guitar actually wasn't junk. It was really a decent. It was a very, very playable guitar. Anyway,
this segment is not brought to you by Esteban. Although Esteban, hit us up. I'd love to get one of your guitars.
I'd like you to fix the one I have
that we bought 15 years ago. This this segment is brought to you by the Catholic Woodworker. Go to thecatholicwoodworker.com. They have a special deal right now on bundles of rosaries. If you are on Exodus 90 right now, you want to get guys, your group of guys, some rosaries. Your men's group rosaries. They have a bundle right now where if you buy, I think, 3, 5, or 10, you get percentages off. And then if you throw on TCMS, you get an extra 10% off. So
nice.
Go to the CatholicWoodworker.com. You can get your Exodus 90 group some solid rosaries. So, Dave, this episode we're going to talk about Peacemakers.
What they do to this whiskey to make it so good?
It's very good.
We are talking about Peacemakers today. Sorry, it's just.
That's okay.
It's just a good bottle.
It is. It's very good.
It's hard for me to really describe, actually.
When creating peace, a lot of times, especially in your household, you have to get creative.
Yeah.
Especially with little kids. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming also with older kids as well, and the creativity has to be exponentially higher.
Yeah, I don't know. My expectation is that we'll be able to use more logic
than creativity.
Just... let's
hope so.
Slow down and let's just play out the situation here. Yeah, with kids, a lot of the piece is about redirecting.
Yes. Oh, sleight of hand almost.
Right. Oh, you're really sad about. Did you see the new toy over there?
Right.
Yeah. All of a sudden, peace is restored.
But you have to have peace within the home. As the leader of your family, you need to make sure that there is order in your household.
Strive for peace. It doesn't really come from redirecting to new toys. That's a tactic.
Pseudo.
That's a tactic. It's not like an approach.
Right.
Or whatever. I think people know what I'm trying to say.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about for the gear today, we've talked about board games in the past. That was actually going to be my man gear, was the board games.
Yeah.
Because we've been playing more board games as a family recently.
Okay.
But I realized, we already talked about that. So let's talk about card games or card games / board games. Really just family activities that instill unity within the family, instill everybody playing together, coming together. having the family come together as one to participate in something.
Okay.
One of the things that I grew up with was my family was really into playing hearts and spades card games growing up.
Yeah.
I love spades because it is very strategic. You know, you play cards to set up other people. It's like, if I play this card, you just, like, now, here's the card that I have. Here's how you play the card in return.
Especially if you play on teams.
Well, that's how you play spades.
Okay, there's another...
Hearts is what you're thinking of, I think.
No, I'm not thinking of hearts.
Thinking about bridge?
No, not bridge. But it's just like spades, except, you call out your tricks in the beginning, and you don't have to play it on a team. You can play it solo.
I've never played spades solo. I've only played it on teams.
Yeah, you can play it by yourself.
I would assume you probably could. Yeah, but it's not as fun. It wouldn't be near as fun because you... how do you play nil? How do you go nil?
Nil. It's nil, by the way. I know in the Minahan household you guys say nil, but the word
How do you go nil? How do you go nil then?
You just get no spades.
Yeah.
You pick up no spades.
Anyway, so like
it plays like hearts. It's like hearts except with the strategy of spades, because you have to decide ahead of time how many tricks you're going to get. If you don't get that many tricks, you get penalized big time.
Big time, right.
So, I mean, you can play it either way.
The reason why I brought it up, though, is because I have fond memories of playing even late into the night, like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, playing games with my family, playing spades with my family.
Right.
And it was just a time that we all got to get together. Of course, it was before cell phones, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
But we all got a chance to just like play together, laugh together, have fun together, and it was just like good like leisure time together.
Yeah.
And so like as we're talking about Peacemakers, talking about order, talking about unity, talking about making sure that we as a as the leader of your family, making sure that your household is together in unity and working together. That I thought, well, it'd be cool to talk about different games that we could play that would cultivate that.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of people are going to disagree with you on this. A lot of people are going to say, look, if we want to maintain peace in the household, the last thing we're going to do is play a game.
Some kind of aggression.
Okay.
Or like some kind of competitiveness.
Let me tell you, the last time we played a game in our house, we said, hey, game night, it's going to be fun. People ended up screaming at each other and not talking to each other for 3 days.
That's Haley's response. When Haley first, so funny story, when Haley we first got married, I was like, hey, let's go over to my parents' house. We'll play spades. She'd never played spades before in her life. And like, I just set her up terribly. It was just a terrible job on my part.
Yeah.
To let her know, hey, like we play serious. Like, this is like a competitive thing. She'd never played before.
So, but you're going to need to be good.
Right. And it was just, and I felt so bad for her because I realized halfway through this, like, this is not fun for her. She's stressing.
Yeah.
Like, so you're right. There's some people.
That's not her moment.
No, she doesn't like, no. So like, that's like, I realized that that's not going to be somebody, like, for instance, tonight, we played a game. We played something that's kind of like Jenga, but it's for like little kids. Okay. And it ended with 2 boys crying, Anna yelling, and mom dominating. And so it was like, oh, this is supposed to be fun. Like, everybody's like not having fun. Like, nobody is having fun here.
Yeah.
But I still think, even if this is the case, like, even if it's quote unquote not fun at that time, I still think you'll have fond memories of it looking back.
Well, okay, this is a terrible analogy. This is maybe the worst analogy I've ever used on this show.
Dude, I used candy as analogy for Grace. Was it Grace?
Really bad. This one
With
might
Tim
be worse.
Staples.
This one might be worse. I was going to say that
suffering.
It's sort of like
suffering.
It's
Yeah.
like taking away candy.
Yeah, taking away
What's
candy.
Suffering of Mary.
It was like suffering of Mary.
Yeah.
And that was the analogy that I used with Tim Staples.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be dethroned. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say that it's sort of like getting spanked. Okay? You might not like it, but as an adult, every single adult brags about the whoopings that they used to get. You know what I mean? Like, they go, oh, there's this one time, and they'll like tell this story, and they like, it's like a glory story for them, like they.
Well, it's like our Catholic Man Show camp out. Every time it has terrible weather, we talk about it.
So I mean, that's a really bad analogy for like.
Terrible.
But I will tell you that we actually played a game at our house this evening.
Okay.
It's called like Find It. I do not remember the name of this game. It's actually a pretty good game. I even enjoy it.
I have found that it's very hard to find games for like our boys are getting old enough, to play.
Let me tell about my game.
I know, but I found it's hard to find good games for the family at this age.
Well,
so
I think
I'm
the game
interested.
is called Find It, the thing is, it's a Disney game. Okay.
Okay.
But you have all these cards that have like scenes from all of these different Disney movies, and then on the back is a picture like of a barrel or a wheel or a number, and so when you flip it over, everybody has to find that thing in one of the cards that they have. Okay, and the first one to find it, oh good, and they flip their card over in the middle, and there's another picture there, and so the first one to use up, be out of cards is the winner. It's pretty fun, really. So tonight I came in first, Lady Pamela came in second. So we both destroyed all of our children. just so you guys know,
it was a lot of fun.
Just so you guys know, that's how it is around here. Okay. Don't even for a second.
It's called Find Me or Find It?
No, it's not called. That's not what it's called. But it's like, can you find it or?
Okay. We used to play Sequence. Did you ever play Sequence?
Sequence is good.
We play Sequence a lot.
Let me give you a little tip. Do not ever, under any circumstances, play a game called Quirkle with Lady Pamela. Okay. Just don't do it.
I won't.
You will not win. I'm a game person.
Right.
And I cannot beat her at that game.
I'd be interested to hear what other people are playing, because I know that people are playing more board games now with being kind of quarantined at times and things, having to become creative.
Okay, Settlers of Catan, very good. Ticket to Ride, also very good.
Did you play Stratego when you were a kid?
I never played Stratego.
I've been playing Stratego with Santi these days.
You've been playing Juan's been playing it with Santi. Stratego's a good one.
Also chess.
Chess is a good one.
Teach your children chess.
I gotta get Luke. I gotta teach Luke.
Why don't you let me do it, okay?
You're the worst. We'll be back.
We like shoots and ladders.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can count really well, so they can play really well. And then
we play Sorry, and Sorry's one that's like it inevitably will bring tears at some point.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So
what's the Sorry game that you?
It's like a Sorry, but it's huge.
But it's the exact same game.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Parchesi.
Parchesi.
Yeah.
Parchesi.
Yeah.
Parchesi.
I just wanted to promote, in general, just having family time, quality family time with no cell phones, no movies, no video, no screens. Just sitting with your family.
No screen time. No screen time is the key to family time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put them away and see what happens.
Right. Oh, Jenga. John just said he's stuck on Candyland and Jenga. I actually went and bought Jenga today because we had a set of Jenga when the kids were little, and they ended up using them as building blocks, and then half of them got destroyed, chewed on, lost, whatever else. And so I went and got a fresh set of Jenga. And so we were going to play that today. So we played a game called Melt Off or Melt Down. I can't remember. It's it's basically like Jenga. It's kind of like the idea of Jenga, except for you're building it up instead of pulling it off.
Oh.
So you have a stand, and you put a little slime ball in the middle, and then a platform on top of that slime ball. And so that slime ball kind of moves that around as time goes, and you build things up. And as you build it up, if it falls down, then you have to take those back, and you have to put them back on one at a time. That's kind of so that's what it is.
So,
and that definitely invoked tears.
I actually received a Jenga game this year. I say this year, is actually last year, is 2020. So I in March started working from home.
Right.
You're
almost a year in, by the way.
I didn't go back to the office. Well, I actually had worked in the office twice this week.
Yes.
But I didn't go back until mid-December because I said, you know what? I want my coffee cup. I have the sweetest coffee cup. It's the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And it's just an awesome coffee cup. Mm-hmm. And I wanted it. So I went in and I noticed, I walked in my office, there's something on my conference table that I have in my office. It's a package. Look at this. So I opened it up. I saw it's from April. A wholesaler had sent me a Jenga game, except it was, what was that game that everyone was playing? The first-person shooter game that was free. That like was
GoldenEye.
Fortnite.
GoldenEye.
You said,
bro, it was free. I said it was free.
Sorry.
I wasn't talking about N64.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. I really thought I was excited that I got that right.
That's GoldenEye. You're talking about
007.
No,
GoldenEye.
you're talking about the chopping hand
Yes.
game. That one. This game.
Yeah.
No. No, it was a Fortnite Jenga game. I'm not sure. Anyway, I gave it away as a dirty Santa.
Oh yes, I was there at that party.
Oh yeah, you were there. Anyway, but about Candyland, my parents growing up made an interesting adjustment to the game, which I think worked out well. Because there's cards, right? You know, you draw a card.
Right.
They took those cards and kind of cut them up a little bit to skinny them out and glued them onto like a plate and made a spinner out of it. And so you don't have to worry about getting the cards, losing the cards, drawing, like, oh, don't knock the deck of cards. So you just we made a spinner out of the cards.
That's creative.
And I think, way better, personally.
It's creative.
Yeah.
Checkers is also good, Tom. Yes. My boys play checkers regularly.
I have to teach Santi how to do checkers.
Yeah.
He probably could learn.
Yeah, you can learn checkers pretty soon. Just remember, never move the back row. Ever.
Shooters and Ladder is my favorite because the realization that when they're counting and they realize, like,
oh no,
I'm about to land.
I'm about to get on the ladder.
And one of them will, like, drop
or
it.
no, the shoot,
like, I can't do it. And then one of Santiago or the other one will be like, it's okay, brother. I can help you.
Yeah. Here, let me help you move your back to start.
This is a moment for me to be charitable.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you. Oh,
right.
Look at that. That's the big shoot.
Right. Oh darn. And this is the start.
It's still going.
Yeah.
Oh.
Except that ours is like a dinosaur version. So
Bronchiosaurus all the way back.
It's like if you go up, it's like dinosaur footsteps, and if you go down, you get in a volcano and you go in the lava. So when they fall in one, they have this like death scream.
It's burning me.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Wait. I have one more game story. Have you ever played it's not Phase 10. It's starts with I just had it in my mind a second ago.
Oh, Pick Up 52.
No.
Pick up sticks.
Pick up stick. No. It's
it's 52 card pickup, by the way.
Well,
that's what you call it.
I can't remember what it is. If I remember it later.
It's a good story, though.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I enjoyed it. Overall, I enjoyed it.
I would say we have...
I just was thinking of this game, and now all of a sudden I'm blanking out on it. Anyway, I'll tell it later.
Family game night in my household. Once a week. It's family game night.
Family game night? That's good.
Yeah, we sit by the fire.
Nice. Hey, how's your wood pile doing?
It's going down.
Dwindling.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's less.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it is less.
Okay. All right, welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. We're sitting here sipping on Wyoming whiskey, a delicious bourbon. Highly recommend it. It's only $40. We talked about how you could potentially create peace or actually chaos. At the end of this segment, I thought
peace or murder.
Yeah, it may not actually create any kind of peace, but more chaos. But so we're talking about blessed are the peacemakers. We're talking about peace today. Something that hit me. I was actually nervous about this episode because it was my turn. Nothing inspirational had been hitting me. I went to adoration, thinking like, oh, this is typically when I get the ideas, and nothing hit me. Nothing like persuaded me. And then this morning,
This morning.
Oh
wow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. This morning is when I decided.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show.
Yes, exactly. This is what we will talk about today. So I was thinking about. Obviously, we need peace in today's culture.
Well, I told you, when I got here, I was actually going to do peace next week.
Yes, but it's going to be my turn anyway because you did 2 in a row, so I'll do 2 in a row to give.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you did 2.
I mean, it was all one topic, but okay.
So
hey, I will let you.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong.
So, Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God."
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here thinking about, okay, how does this work? He's calling us to be peacemakers. We're participating right now in the divine sonship. When you are peacemakers, you're participating in the divine sonship here on earth. Our goal is to participate in the divine sonship,
which is
eternally.
different from the mothership.
Yes,
sonship.
Good.
The sonship is
Good
different from the mothership. Right.
Good distinctions.
Thank you.
And so he's talking about, obviously, to create peace with it, around here, and then he's also saying that we all should be one. He prays right before.
Yeah, unity and peace. They're almost synonyms.
Yeah, well,
almost.
Yes, almost.
They're not, but they overlap a whole lot. When you get down into it, you find that, well, you have peace when you have unity.
Right. So what I wanted to talk with you about today is like trying to understand, how do we be peacemakers in today's world without giving up our Christian principles and our Christian foundation in this world? Because sometimes I relate to peacemakers as people who are just like trying to make everybody like happy in the room, which is not what we're called to do, because we're called to evangelize, right? It's, when Jesus converted people, he didn't just say, your sins are forgiven, but he goes, sins, go and sin no more. He doesn't just meet people where they are, but he then gives them a way out of how they are living and say, repent and believe in the gospel. And so how do we, in this tumultuous craziness world, create peace without giving up our principles, without giving up our foundation and being, just doormats, basically?
Yeah, so this is a hard one because I can just speak for myself. Right now, a lot of my thoughts are dominated by the political climate.
Right, and I mean, there's so many things.
It's hard for me to desire peace. I know that there are a lot of people who are ready for war. Who are saying, no, we need, we need to stand up for the truth. We need to fight back. And so peace is not the thing that is on the minds of so many people. Okay, so right now peace is kind of hard to think about, but if we just look at what peace is and what it isn't. So let's take two scenarios. One, you have, everybody knows those people who are always the calming influence on they're the de-escalators. So that's what I want to compare de-escalation to peace, because they're not the same thing. Just trying to calm people down, that is not peace. It's just de-escalation is all it is. Okay, so on the one hand, you have someone de-escalating, trying to, hey, why don't we just, calming both people down. The person who's pursuing peace helps both parties come to a recognition of the truth. Okay, so that is only because de-escalation, neither side is going to apologize. Neither side is going to say, it can be assumed in a confrontation, one side is wrong. Let's just assume that is the case. There obviously are situations where both sides are wrong and neither side is wrong, and you just have misunderstandings, right? But let's just, for the sake of discussion, one side is wrong, okay? That side needs to realize that they're wrong and apologize, and only then do you have peace. Only then, because until that happens, you still have a feud. It's below the surface, which makes it worse.
Do you think that there are times where we want to be right so much?
Yes, I already know what I already know the question, and the answer is yes.
Yes, I think that there's times that we insert like how we feel so much that we throw them off track. We throw them off of like really what the main purpose is, and we want to insert like everything that we want to say and do, and it's not meaningful in where we're actually trying to get to.
Right.
And that's something that I think that I struggle with is, and it creates division,
selfishness, right,
and pride. It's like okay, I know you believe in this thing, but let me talk to you about this, and this to lead to this, and none of this really matters. Like, let's just talk about what your subject is, and then we can go from there.
So let me just give you an example of this in my own life. There's someone that I know whose wife was ill, and so I started praying for her every day. I didn't tell the guy that I know, that I was doing that, but I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy to do it. For some reason, I just all of a sudden felt called to do that, and I was. And I was spending a significant amount of time in prayer every day for this woman. And then one day I sent a text message to the guy asking how she was doing, and he never responded. And all of a sudden when he did that, I lost my peace about it. And I felt I was offended.
Right.
Here I am dedicating time every day
and
for someone that I don't have to pray for, right? And I was mad about it for almost a day before I just really started praying about the fact that I was mad. I became myself reflecting upon myself, right? And then I prayed about it, and then immediately I realized his wife is maybe dying. And I'm mad that he didn't respond to my text message.
Right.
I am the most important part of his life. He doesn't have more things going on that are more important than my text message.
Right.
Because I deserve a personal update because I sent him because I asked for it. And so it's just, it was my selfishness and my pride, my self-centered ego that stole my pride from me, or it stole my peace from me. And it was a humiliating and really it became a grace-filled moment because I learned a lesson, and I'm now happy to share that lesson with everyone. But that's just, I'm so susceptible to stuff like that. I think everybody is, because we focus on ourselves. Something happens in traffic. It can be, the thing is, it's often something very little,
meaningless,
that you allow your peace to be taken. So if we talk about this, the principle, you cannot give what you do not have. We talk about this a lot. So if you don't become a person who learns to resign yourself to the will of God, then you will never be a peacemaker. You have to have peace in order to give peace.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, so division, division is a big part of how I think the devil works to create chaos, to create unrestlessness.
The word diabolic means to divide.
Yeah, okay.
It comes from the Greek word diaboline, which means to divide.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, to divide. And I was just thinking, okay, so right before, Christ, is about to go into his passion, he prayed that we would all be one.
Right.
That was it was okay, God gave him the opportunity, said, now is your time. I know that you've given everybody, a vision of me. Now, what do you want to pray for before you go through your passion? And what does he do is he prays that we all be one.
Yeah, these are almost before someone's executed, they're allowed a last statement.
Right.
Any final words. These are almost Jesus's final words. They're not his actual final words, but he's there with the Father in prayer.
And he prays that we all be one.
It's one of the last things he says in prayer.
And so I was just thinking, okay, as a dad, you build up your family, you build your atmosphere. Now think about, let's say Elizabeth goes, and she would never do this. She's awesome. But let's just say hypothetically, she goes in and starts saying you know what? Let's just stop talking to Mary. Telling all the siblings, let's just stop talking to Mary. And divides the family up into, quarantining Mary basically from the family. Teams. And you, as a father, you're like, what is my family doing? Why are they doing this? Now you have Bernadette though that comes back and says, no, let's bring Mary in. No, let's get her. Let's bring her into the family.
You know what, Mary? Let's stop talking to Elizabeth.
No. Let's get Elizabeth and let's all come together.
Oh yeah, sure.
As a father, how meaningful would that be to you if your children were creating unity and not division? Luke is phenomenal at that. It's creating unity and not division.
Luke is such a good kid.
He is. He's a great kid. And
it's probably because he's my godson. I'm just
it's
gonna
probably your prayers.
Throw that out there.
Probably your prayers. Yes. We'll see how Leo turns out with Juan being the godson.
You know what? Honestly, it's a competition.
It's a competition. It definitely is. No. But so, I'm just thinking like, God desires us all to be one, just as, as a father, I desire my family to be one. Like, one of the best things that I could think about,
right?
On my deathbed.
If we desire that for them, how much more does he desire that for us? Yeah.
And as Catholic men, I think that we have a duty and obligation to show unity and to build up the kingdom of God, which we'll talk about on the other side of the break.
Yeah.
I'm good with just rolling if you want to.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I still cannot remember the name of that game. It starts with a Q, I think. It's not Quiznos.
It's a delicious sandwich place, though. Is it still around?
I don't know, man.
I can't find a Quiznos around.
I used to have a passionate love for Quiznos. And then something happened about the time we went to college that it seemed like they doubled in price or something. They went from being a $6, $7 sandwich to a $10 to $12 sandwich. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I couldn't afford it. What the heck?
Yeah.
But they, to their credit, they started the toasted sandwich revolution.
It was delicious.
Okay? And now we can definitively say that is correct. That is the correct way to make a sandwich. You toast it. It's delicious. Like, Subway should be ashamed that they were in the sandwich biz for decades
without toasting their subs.
Quiznos shows up and then all of a sudden Subway's like, "Hey, guys, we got to start toasting these things." They were just resting on their laurels, right? They're thinking we're at the top. Who's gonna compete with us? Then all of a sudden, like a dude with a pizza oven shows up, starts throwing sandwiches through it. It was incredible. And Pepper Bar, they had a Pepper Bar.
They did. Let's just.
I have no idea if Quiznos is still around.
I don't either.
But now you can get toast.
You're bringing us in, but
you can get toast sandwiches at Subways now, and so it's okay.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry. You have things. So show me what we need to.
I want to talk about tribalism,
okay,
and the importance of we kind of talked a little bit about because things are so divided these days, but we'll talk about the importance.
I would like to not just talk about the problem, but talk about the solution.
Yes,
is that in your notes?
That's the next thing.
Okay. So we can let's do. Let me back up.
Okay.
Let's designate 4 minutes to the problem.
Okay.
8 minutes to the solution.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Sure.
But let's let God's will be done.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan, Juan Posada on the buttons, everyone. Just give him a round of applause in your car, wherever it is that you're listening to this. Just thank you. That's enough. Not too much. He doesn't need it.
To Juan.
To Juan. It was to Juan.
Okay. You just said, let's give a round of applause, and then you didn't say to who. I didn't know if it was going to be to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, because I was looking at him.
But that doesn't
and for the
translate
podcast
very well.
Audience, right? So that was for Juan. It wasn't for me. So if you would like to give 4 claps to Juan because you were giving some to me, which is also right and just, go ahead.
Okay.
We're drinking a little bit of Wyoming whiskey, which is just incredible.
Right.
I just am really loving it. And we're talking about peace.
Yes. Okay, so the devil, one of his best games is the divide and conquer game, right? Is to separate people, make them feel lonely, make them feel like that they're the only ones struggling with whatever it is.
Because like in the garden, the first thing he did was he was trying to divide you from God.
Right.
And
then he divided
Adam and Eve against themselves, right?
Yeah. So
she did it.
He did it.
And let's be fair, she did do it. Okay.
But it's his fault.
But he was there.
And it's his
fault. And he
fault.
should have done something.
So this is the game, the devil plays, and he's really good at it. And then so what happens is that tribalism forms, right? Because you get into these think tanks of almost like the exact same thoughts, the exact same things that you're going through, and you don't hear anybody else's side of the story. You don't hear any other ideas or thoughts or processes.
Every social media platform only shows you the posts that it thinks that you will like.
Right. And I actually looked up exactly what tribalism was because, I have an idea. I know what tribalism is, but I'm just curious on what the definition is.
Right. Yeah.
And it said that tribalism is an attitude and practice of harboring such a strong feeling of loyalty or bonds to one's tribe that excludes or even demonizes those others who do not belong to that group.
Okay.
So I like this definition.
The first half was okay.
So I like this definition for the main reason is because Christianity, because you can't be a Christian and be in experience tribalism, because Christianity is for everybody. You can't demonize people for not being a part of your group, because Christianity is for everybody.
Yeah. But the first part, it says strong feelings of loyalty. That's awesome. One should feel strong feelings of loyalty to the group, whether it's your country or your family or your
company,
NFL
whatever.
team. I mean, that's okay to feel. It's okay to be loyal.
Right. Yeah. Because I have these notes. It's important to surround yourself with people who hold the same values as you do that build you up, but it's not okay insofar to exclude other people from being a part of the group, because Christianity is not an exclusive club. Right. It's for everybody. Jesus says, "Go and baptize all nations."
Right.
And so
it is an exclusive set of beliefs, but it is not excluded to any set of people. Right.
Which is important, but I think that's
exclusivity is exclusivity is one of the most important things, and also one of the worst things.
Right.
When applied rightly and wrongly.
Yeah. No, I agree. So I think that so if God wills us all to be one, how are we as Christian men doing this, right? How are we building up the kingdom? How are we creating peace without giving up our principles? Because, it is effeminate and not okay to just surrender what you believe in to make peace with other people. The Battle of Lepanto is a prime example of this, right? So I'm not in any way saying we should water down our faith or that we should belittle our beliefs in any way, shape, or form.
Because then you're just a de-escalator.
Exactly.
But peace is about helping both sides arrive at the truth.
truth.
So that reconciliation can take place.
Right. So how are we doing this? So really what it comes down to is how are we showing Christ, how are we in charity showing Christ to other people?
Yeah.
How are we being charitable to other people? And because it's a whole thing, and it's cliche, but I think it still is appropriate. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah. It is cliche, but it's profoundly true.
It's just true.
It is profoundly true.
And so how are we cultivating, everybody is, even though the divisions have happened in political scale and the church scale and your family scale, whatever it is, the reason why they're divided, though, is because they feel like, and whether they're right or wrong, whether their emotions are fueling it or not, but they feel like this is the way to the truth. This is the best thing that we can do as a society, community, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So if we take a step back and we realize, listen, you want the best just like I want the best.
Right.
Just because you think that this isn't the best, my way, doesn't mean that you still don't want the best.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to have it, try to make sure that emotions aren't high and your appetites are under control.
The profound thing to keep in mind is that there's a difference between, we don't demonize people, but we do demonize ideas. Some ideas are demonic. Mm-hmm. And this is what the left can't figure out, okay?
Right.
I'm kidding. That is true. But I'm also just I'm making a funny. It was a funny.
Right.
Because I'm making fun of another tribe. But really, that's what we have to remember. All people do this. That they conflate the person with their ideas.
Yes. Right.
And, you have bad ideas, therefore you're a bad person. And just because you think an idea is bad doesn't mean it is bad. Rational debate needs to be had from both, and both sides need to.
Public discourse needs to happen.
The thing is, the discourse never takes place anymore.
Right.
It's all about political lines and catchphrases
Right.
And that's the extent of everything. So
here's
it makes it very challenging. It's a challenging environment in which to bring peace about.
So here's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about like, how do I cultivate peace? How do I be the peacemaker? Because obviously Christ demands of us, you know, to be peacemakers. Without, how did he do it? How do you do it without giving up your principles? And so I think that we just need to be more charitable. I think that we need to figure out. I think I was thinking about this the other day. Is like, man, what if I could just do one charitable thing for somebody else every single day?
Let's try to be more specific, because being charitable is it's a very broad.
So I was thinking about
it's hard to know what that means sometimes.
Yeah. So I was thinking, you know what? I didn't do anything for my next door neighbor for Christmas. There's one next door neighbor. I didn't do anything. I didn't touch base with them. I didn't, drop off cookies. I didn't give them a Christmas card. I didn't do anything for Christmas.
You're a bad person.
I am a bad person. Yeah.
We did take cookies to all of our neighbors.
Yeah. And so it's like, but that's a touch that
I don't know if we brought them to you, but like.
Yeah, I didn't get any.
You're like a couple houses away.
I'm like 2 houses away.
You're like really far.
Right.
Okay.
But so like it's the bringing donuts into to the office. It's the just doing charitable things that sets you apart from the average person. It's the opening up the doors. It's the saying thank yous. It's the politeness. It's the understanding the dignity of the other person and not just being engulfed in what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Because in 1 Peter 3:15, when he talks about give a defense. Be ready to give a defense to anybody, but he says because of the hope that is within you. So it presupposes that there is hope within you.
That you have hope within you, right?
And so hope is something that we got to have, today, very much so, I think, in today's world, and something that is desperately needed. And so how are we as Christian men giving that example of Jesus Christ to other people? Jose Maria Escriva said, may your life be as such that every man who sees you says, this man reads the life of Christ.
Yeah. Just for the record, I have read that book.
The Way? Or the Bible?
The Life of Christ.
Oh, The Life of Christ.
By Thomas A. Kempis. Is that what he's talking about?
No. No.
He means the gospel. I've read those too.
You covered both bases.
Okay.
But so that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, how do we, as Catholic men, create peace without giving up our fundamental, Christian foundation, but yet still stand firm and create peace? I think it goes back to love. And this is like the cliche. It's like loving everybody else, but you have to be intentional about it.
Yeah, and I think you have to be specific. And
I'm struggling. Like this,
I know what you mean.
I'm talking this through.
You have
with
to love everybody. You have to love people, but
because I'm struggling with
sometimes,
it. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it myself. And
sometimes, literally, people don't know what that means.
Right.
So I think that we have to focus on like things like humility and training yourself to let go of this world. Mm-hmm. You will not have peace until you are not attached to this world. Mm-hmm. Any attachment that you have to this world is something that will rob you of your peace. For instance, just look at the politics right now. This is a great example. If you think that like the country of America needs to keep going as it has been in its glory days, and like you're attached to that, then you are that is something that is a way that you can have your peace taken from you when you realize things come and go.
Right.
Great countries have existed and fallen throughout the millennia of history.
And like
this country too will come and go.
And as Father Brian Brooks said, our pastor at St. Benedict said today in his homily, he said, when you take something like that and place it before God, that is idolization, and that is like
right.
That's against the first commandment.
It's only when we train ourselves. Literally, I've done this before in prayer, and it's like a little bit scary to do, but thinking about what if all of my children were killed today in a tragic car accident, and just I don't want that to happen, obviously.
Right.
And I'm not praying that it, does, so that I'm not doing anything crazy, But it's just like thinking about that and just saying, Lord, even in that moment, I would trust in you.
Well, Aquinas talks about how, like, even if everything is going chaotic in your life, you can still have the peace of thinking about divine things instead of earthly things.
So just training yourself to let go of the world, you will have peace, and then you can give that peace to other people.
Right. So we'll continue this conversation on YouTube. If you're listening to the radio, we're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
And cheers to Jesus.
So we had a question.
Okay.
That is really fitting.
Get it. I love questions.
From Mr. John Moat.
Okay.
Mastering your emotions seems important to creating peace.
Are you putting this up on the screen or no?
I couldn't figure that out.
Okay.
So, mastering your emotions seems important to creating peace.
Yes.
I'll read it one so that everyone on the podcast can hear us. John Moat says, mastering your emotions seems important to creating peace. If that's hard, what do you do to create peace? Well,
silence.
You learn to master your emotions. And that is hard. That is hard for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's easier for some than others. Some people have a disposition. Some people are not as emotional. They're not as passionate about, like in those things. They're not as some people just have anger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not their fault. It's not like, oh, well, you shouldn't be so angry.
Right.
So that is certain. There's no doubt that this is easier for some than others. But if you have trouble, if it's hard, you need to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You need to master your emotions. And if your passions are causing you to sin, then you need to address it. You should not continue through life saying, this is just something that I struggle with.
Right.
And so, like, if that means going to counseling, you go to counseling. If it means going to spiritual direction, you go to spiritual direction. If it means doing X, like, whatever it is,
right?
Self-mastery is what we're all called to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking very hypocritically right now because I don't struggle with my emotions, like, boiling out of control, but I struggle with other forms of self-mastery that,
Sure.
Staying disciplined in other parts of my life, right?
We all do.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're all called to, and it is hard, and you should expect it to be hard. It will be hard. You do it anyway.
Well, and your prayer life. Your prayer life is like you increase your prayer life. You get your appetites under control. You get your emotions under control.
Right. Yeah. The saints have really laid out
ways of mental prayer.
Right, you mentioned appetites. The saints have laid out very clearly. And I wish I could be more specific when I say the saints. I think St. Teresa of Avila has talked about some of this, but I don't really remember. But, there are certain ascetical practices to counter. So if you're struggling with lust, you practice fasting.
Mm-hmm.
If you're struggling with other things,
yeah.
Right, exactly. There is a counter virtue. There's a virtue to counter every vice, just like there's a vice to destroy every virtue.
There's two vices actually to destroy every virtue.
Are there?
Yes, because the virtue is in the middle. There's extremes of either side.
Yes, you're right. Yes, well played.
Yes, checkmate.
High five.
No, I'm just joking. No, so yeah, no, I agree, and so I think that prayer life is the best way to keep it because your emotions sometimes can get it can make your reality. It can deceive your reality. It can
absolutely.
It can make your what's the word I'm trying to
distort.
Distort. Thank you. Yes.
Think about the story I told today, where here
that
I
was
was
exhausting trying to figure out the distort.
Dude, oh man, we've both been kind of struggling with words today. Words are hard.
Words are hard.
But my story today, I was like praying and really was doing some work. It wasn't spending a while in prayer every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's not nothing.
Right.
And, so I was doing something, and to me, I felt like when I checked in with somebody in this situation, I was going to get an answer because I was doing work on their behalf, and that was just my own emotions distorting reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so it happens all the time with everything. To become dispassionate is to become unhuman, and is to like separate yourself from your emotions is not possible. So we need to learn to control them so that we can interpret reality correctly. And I think a lot of that, once again, I keep coming back to attachments.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not attached to to something, if I'm not attached to your computer here on the desk,
right,
and something terrible, unjust
could
happens to that computer, I don't really care. I care because it affects you,
right?
But in as much as it strictly affects the computer, I don't care at all.
It's very easy to find out what your children are attached to, because you know why? Just take it away and see how they react,
or even just threaten to take it away. Right?
You know, it's like, okay, no more movies, no more music, whatever it is.
Yeah.
No more treats, no more sugar, no more candy, no more juice, whatever it is.
One of my children lost their sticker privileges for a week today.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Anna lost her. I don't want to embarrass her.
Let's just say one of your daughters.
Yeah. Anna receives a treat every time she does something very good for a specific thing that she's working on.
Yeah.
So like we are rewarding her for something that she struggles with handily, and so
like when she practices virtue of some kind.
When she practices the virtue of some kind, we reward her mightily. However,
have you thought about the fact that our kids will probably listen to this podcast?
Yes,
like when they're grown.
Yes,
I think about that too. I think it's awesome.
I think it's hilarious because they're gonna be like, Dad is ridiculous, but it's gonna be at least something they're gonna say like, at least I know Dad, he loves Jesus.
At least he tried. You know, the thing about Dad is that
he tried.
At least he tried.
He was trying.
Because
and like
I'm sure by the time they're grown,
it's clear that
this
he
will not
loves
be,
his faith.
It won't be available on the internet anymore because
whatever we're doing, I don't know.
Because there will be nothing true left on the internet by that time.
Yeah, everybody will be shut down.
Right.
He sounds.
We'll have been deplatformed long ago.
Yeah.
But we've been saving hard copies of everything in the meantime, so they'll be able to listen to it.
So I think I'm going back because I think it's important that we make sure that we have a strong prayer life. And like, man, this is like, I like when I was preparing this episode, I had really good questions, and like I know what the answers are already because they're the answers of almost every question that we have on the show. It's like
Jesus.
It's Jesus. It's have a strong prayer life. It's thinking about others. It's loving others more than yourself, or as yourself. It's it's the commandments, the beatitudes. It's everything that that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And that's the answer. But
how come the answer is never the Holy Spirit, though? That's what I want to know. Like,
because he's the one working through you.
Why are we hating on the Holy Spirit?
No one is.
I feel like we are.
I'm not.
I feel like he's the redheaded stepchild.
You have a guilty conscience.
I feel like we always talk about Jesus, and like Jesus is over here like, guys, the Holy Spirit. I told you that
I'm descending the Holy Spirit.
I have to leave you so that something greater can come.
I do want to ask everybody to, as we're wrapping up, to pray for us this week if you possibly can, because we are going on a retreat this weekend to Clear Creek.
We'll be retreating while you hear this.
Most likely, yes. We'll be on retreat.
Assuming you're up on your podcast.
I'm really excited to go because
I'm also very excited.
The liturgy of the hours.
We're going to Clear Creek. I'm gonna essentially strive to live the life of a monk. So I'll be getting up at like 4 a.m. I don't know when they get up. I think it's
4:30.
4:30. It's 4:30.
Yeah, okay. Juan says 4:30. So they get up really early. They pray. They go to bed kind of early though too, so it's all right.
I am not going to do all the work that like throughout the day like a lay monk does. I don't know if that's what you're going to do.
A lay brother? No, I'm going to live the life of a choir monk, not a lay brother.
Okay. I just wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. So for people who don't know, we're talking about Clear Creek Abbey, which is a Benedictine monastery. It's a Benedictine abbey, actually.
It's where we host the Catholic Man Show.
Yes, exactly. And they exist in the traditional form. Mm-hmm. They don't do the like 2 a.m. Like Benedict and his monks would get up in the middle of the night and pray, go back to bed. They don't do that one. But they do get up. They do everything else. It's all in Latin. But that's not as important. What I'm trying to say is that they have choir monks and they have lay brothers. The choir monks do some work throughout the day, but it's not a whole lot. Most of their time is devoted to study and prayer. Really, their vocation is prayer and the contemplative life. Whereas
in the liturgy.
In the liturgy, yes, in the liturgy. That is a big part. And the lay brothers also participate in a huge amount of prayer throughout the day, more than you do. Right. Like as whoever you are as the listener.
And me.
And you and me, right? I mean, maybe there's one or two of you out there in podcast land who pray more than these guys, but I doubt it. But then the rest of they do a lot of the work throughout the day. Really, they do almost all the work so that the choir monks can pray. And I'll tell you, as just someone who's in the Diocese of Tulsa in eastern Oklahoma, where Clear Creek Abbey resides, I cannot tell you how peaceful. I get a sense of peace knowing that these monks are here praying every day of their life and will be until the end of time.
Yes.
In 100 years from now, these monks.
So how are you playing?
Will still
we
be
haven't
here
even
praying.
talked about this. How are you playing the retreat?
So I'm going to go to confession in advance.
Okay. Ooh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that.
I thought about, I'll go to confession while I'm there. I said, no. I'm going to. I'm going to go before I get there.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I
like your prep work thus far.
And then that is it.
That's all you thought about.
I think that's important. That's all I have. After that, I'm going to be there.
My plan.
I have no plans beyond that. I'm just going to let what happens happen.
Okay.
I'm going to receive from the Lord the things that he desires for me to receive. I'm not going to receive the things that he doesn't want me to receive. I'm going to eat when food is put in front of me. I will not eat when it's not put in front of me. I will pray when I'm told to pray. I will, that's going to be it. I'm just going to be there and let it happen.
I love it.
Yeah.
My plan has been to hit all the liturgy of the hours. And then
I am going to do that,
which is a lot.
The choir monk. I'm going to live the life of a choir monk. That's okay. I guess that's something that I am planning on doing. Like,
but like
I don't want to put myself into it. I just want to be there to try to encounter Christ.
My goal is also though to have silence, to have be able to read, to be able to write.
Yeah.
And to just be able to pray, read, write, eat, and that is what I hope for.
I'm hoping to get caught up on my some of my YouTube channels that I follow.
Yeah, I'm really excited because as soon as I get there, I will be turning off my phone.
Yeah. I haven't done a retreat, man.
It's been too long for me.
Do you know when was the last time I did a retreat?
Probably Acts.
Acts. Yeah, thank you. That's when it was. And I loved it. Acts retreat for me was awesome. I wish we could have gone on the same Acts retreat.
Me too.
But I really had a great Acts retreat. Looking back on the retreat, I can see how it can be done well and it can be done less than that. It can be done less than well, depending on who's leading it. I had a great leader. It was not cheesy at all. It was really good. And the fact that there's 24-hour adoration.
That was my favorite part of Acts.
Me too.
I had I did three
that's
3
the
hours
missing
of
link
adoration.
for me in Curcio. Curcio you do. But as a table, go do an hour of adoration.
But everybody else is doing adoration for you.
Right, which is great. But they do that in Acts. Someone is always in adoration.
Right.
But also you can go anytime you want, right? And so
because as a dad, having 3 hours of uninterrupted adoration,
unheard of,
was not even a possibility.
And when you do multiple hours in a row, it gets
easier.
It gets better
and better
as it goes along.
Yeah.
There in the first hour, if you don't have a book, don't bring a book. Don't show up I've got my spiritual reading. Don't do that. Just show up. and just sit there for 2 or 3 hours. And there will be a 45 minutes in, all of a sudden it's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then about an hour and 15, an hour and a half, all of a sudden it gets really good. You know what I mean? So you have to persevere.
That's at least my experience.
That's your experience? That's okay, that's me too. So maybe that won't be your experience, but persevere.
Yes.
And
I just it's
just so good.
So to wrap up, I just want everybody to love Jesus. And we have to, as Catholic men, it's important to strive for peace.
Right.
And there's no peace in this world right now, and it's important to make sure that we are the peacemakers because we have the fullness of the truth. And so in order to because we have the fullness of the truth, we're going to have more will be held more accountable because we have this. And it's important for us every day to strive to be peacemakers without giving up the truth, without giving up what we believe.
Can I ask you a really tough question before we leave?
Sure.
Because you just said without the truth, you can't have peace. So if you don't have truth, you cannot have peace. And I agree. I agree 100%. Let's just say we're not in America as we know it now. We're in totalitarian, authoritarian Russia or any other country that has been authoritarian.
Venezuela.
Let's say we are in the novel 1984.
Okay.
You have not read this book.
I've read half of it.
You have. Okay.
Audiobook. No. I have audiobooked half of it.
No, I think that counts. You read as
I'm just trying to be as
Andrew Pudawa says, you read with your ears.
I just want to be
it gets what are you supposed to say I audiobooked that? Just say you read it. I mean, it's just so much easier to say. Anyway. So 1984, let's say we're in that book. And in that book, for the people who haven't read it, they're compelled, expected to believe things that are obvious lies. Stuff like on one day they announce on the government speaker, we're having to reduce the chocolate ration from 5 grams a week to 3 grams a week. And maybe it wasn't 5 to 3, but it's they had to reduce the chocolate rations every week. The very next week, they talk about some great victory they have, which is why they increased the chocolate rations from 2 grams to 3 grams a week. And they're expecting you to believe with absolute, with zero questioning that yes, in fact, the chocolate ration was increased from 2 grams to 3 grams a week. It wasn't reduced from 5 to 3. No. And if you say that, they'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you just say it because you don't want to die. You say it because you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point in this book, in this scenario, when you are asked to deny the smallest, how much truth is worth your life? You're a dad.
Mm-hmm.
You have children who depend on you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a wife who also depends on you. At what point, how much truth do you say, no, I will not deny that truth, go ahead and kill me? This is a very hard question.
I think Aquinas would say zero, has a zero tolerance.
I want to know what Adam Minahan says.
I don't know. I think it's a tough question. I mean,
I also don't know.
I don't know, at what point I cave. I honestly,
I agree with you that intellectually, I come to the belief intellectually that the answer is zero truth. If you try to, if someone puts a piece of a blue piece of paper in front of me and they say,
this is pink.
This is pink. You should die for the fact that it says, that I say, no, that is not pink.
Right,
you go ahead and shoot me right now because
prudence involved
there's
with all
no
this.
way I'm saying that piece of paper is pink.
Right, because there's prudence involved with all this as well.
Right. I know Thomas Aquinas would say that it's imprudent, that prudence dictates the truth.
Yes, I would,
and that the truth.
I'm not a Thomist, but I think
that the truth is absolutely valuable, and that, that's David Niles' interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So that could very well be wrong, but
doubtful, but it could be
doubtful.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm just
Right.
saying that to be humble.
Right.
But it's something that I think everybody needs to confront. And in fact, this is why you remember when we did that episode on Blessed, the guy, I told you to watch that movie, A Hidden Life.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched it yet? Dude, please watch it very soon, because I want to talk to you about it. I told Father Cosgrove to watch it. He said, like, he cried through the whole thing.
Where do I watch it?
On Netflix. Or, no, I'm sorry, on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It might cost you like $3 or something to watch
Okay.
it.
Okay.
But he said he made, like, every priest in his diocese watch it.
Okay. I don't know the answer to your question, though.
But I think it's something that we need to be ready to confront, because I'm just, whether a political climate or not, forget that. Every man needs to know where they stand.
I want to know. I want to make sure that my kids, like my wife and my children, know that I would take a stand for what I believe in.
Yes.
Now, what I believe in and what matters to me would dictate to what I would be willing to die for or not. Like, what matters to me would dictate what I would die for. Like, I don't care if you think that this is pink. Like,
dude, I agree with you. It's like, oh, you want me to, you're going to kill me if I don't say that this blue piece of paper is pink.
Right.
Fine.
I don't care.
It's pink. But the thing is, I get that. I would definitely say, to save my life for my children, if I was single, maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. I'd be like, you know what? I'm ready.
This is a fast track to heaven.
Yes. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm ready. No, dude, that's the bluest square it's the bluest page I've ever seen in my life.
There is no pink in this at all. Yeah, no, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, if I was single, I might do that.
I don't know.
All of a sudden, like, you know, when you have kids, it changes the game. So anyway,
it depends on, like, again, I think it goes back to
it's something
what
that
I care
you have
about
to know as a man, and especially as a dad.
Like, okay, then the counter argument would be like, okay, so do you care about the truth or not? It's like, yes, I care about the truth. Okay, well then the square is blue.
I know,
and
dude.
then it's like,
exactly. And this is why I asked you. I have no idea. All I know is that if someone puts a blue piece of paper in front of me, and for my life, I have to say it's pink, I will say it's pink. I know that is a lie. I know that St. Thomas is going to be pissed at me. Okay? But I'm going to say it's pink. Like, I'm not going to die for a blue piece of paper. Okay? But it's a slippery. I also know it's a slippery slope.
Right.
Where do I draw the line? Where
if it has anything to do with our faith.
Because what if it's not? But what if all of a sudden it's not about the faith, but it's about something that matters? How much does it have to matter?
Biology-wise.
Right. Or, I mean, like, something like that, where I have to affirm affirm something that's remote, has nothing to do with me, or whatever. I mean, like, are you going to, like, what if they said you either wear this pride sticker or lose your job?
I would lose my job.
That is a tough call. I mean,
yeah,
it's easy, like right now here in the studio to say that.
Right. Yeah, because
yeah,
it is. But
you
that's
know,
something I would do.
And I mean, it's also easy for us to say because both you and I, Adam, have good jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not going to run out of food tomorrow. You know what I mean? For somebody who's running out of food tomorrow, if they don't get paid today, you know, like if you're a bartender, or, I mean, not that bartenders are poor, but people, there are people.
I made more money there than I did at half my jobs.
Right. Yeah, I made really good money waiting tables in college. I mean, wasn't as good as, you know, having like a real job that I have now. Not that that's not a real job. That's not what I meant to say, but like, please, yeah, exactly. Just somebody turn this off. But that we need to know, how much does it matter?
Right.
Not because it's gonna happen, but simply because that is something for self-reflection. Something that helps you be rooted in the truth. Something that helps you. It's this virtue of fortitude. I know where I stand. I know I know what I'm willing to sacrifice for. This has gone on long enough, but I think it's just something I've been thinking about lately that I haven't come up with answers for. And it's something I think we all need to consider. We all need to ponder. Mm-hmm. At what point do I say, no, it would be better that my children grow up fatherless than for me to do blank? It's a tough question.
Tough one.
All right, Juan. That's enough. Kill it.